Welcome back to Miss T.L.L. Lituti English First Additional Language Lessons, and on today's lesson we are going to look at the parts of speech, what we mean by parts of speech in an English sentence. Why is it important for us to actually understand or be in a position to actually identify parts of speech in a sentence? In my view, I would say parts of speech are actually what you call the building blocks for language. So these are our building blocks. Why building blocks? It means that for any sentence to make sense, what we need to understand is the function of each and every word. How is there, or what function does the word constitute in such a way that you are in a position to thoroughly understand the idea that is communicated by a particular sentence. So the reason we are studying the parts of speech is that we need to understand how, firstly, the sentence is constructed. Secondly, the purpose of each and every word. Is the word there to add more meaning? Is the word there to describe? Is the word there to name something? So in all of that, that is what we refer to when we refer to the 8th part of speech. We are going to define and understand what we mean by nouns and types of nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, preposition, conjunction, interjection. Now, in essence, we need to start first by understanding their definitions before we can identify them in a particular sentence. So I'm going to go through the definitions with you, and then at a later stage, I'm going to show you how examiners in English FAL paper 1 actually ask questions around the parts of speech, whereby you'll be given a sentence, and then from a sentence you will have underlined words, and then you have to determine the part of speech of the underlined word. Remember, in the beginning, I said that these are the building blocks to language. Why do we say the building blocks to language? Because when you understand the parts of speech, it simply means that you understand the function of a part of the words that are used in a sentence in such a way that you further deepen your understanding of the sentence, because you would understand what function does that word perform in that particular sentence. Remember, the purpose of the sentence is to actually communicate an idea. So for an English sentence to successfully communicate an idea, you must be in a position to identify and understand how the words work together by reference with reference to their function in a sentence. So we are going to start first with the nouns, and then we are going to study the types of nouns, and then also be in a position to identify exactly the specific kind of noun that is used in a particular sentence, because we do have different types of nouns. Right. By definition, a noun, it means actually we are referring to a naming word. So for us, we can say when you look at the noun, we are actually looking at names. So a noun, it will be a naming word. However, we do have types of nouns, whereby you can have what you call a proper noun. Proper noun, you can also have what you call a pronoun. We can have what you call a collective noun. We can also have what you call a common noun. And then lastly, what you can also have is what you call an abstract noun. Now, the proper nouns, these are the names of people, days of the week, months of the year, names of places, all the names that we write rather using a capital letter. And remember, even when you write your essays, if you mention and you make use of proper nouns, we have to see the first letter being in a capital letter for us to establish that indeed this is a proper noun. So these are names of people, names of places, days of the week, and so forth. So we identify a proper noun with a capital letter. Now, we also have what you call a pronoun. A pronoun, remember, all the nouns, whenever we refer to a noun, we are actually referring to what? To names. A pronoun, it's a name that you use in a space or to substitute what? A proper noun. And then the types of pronoun that we can have the word he, we can have the word she, we can have what? It. These we use in a place of a proper noun. If I don't want to say Katlego, I can say he. If I don't want to say Carol, I can say she. If I don't want to call a dog, I can say it. So in a place of a proper noun, what you can therefore use is what you call a pronoun. And then we also having from word collective noun coming from the word collect. Now these are the kind of names that are going to name or name what? A group, right? For an example, I can say a team of netball. The word team represents a group. I can say a staff of teachers. I'm actually referring to teachers, but now the word staff becomes a collective because it means I'm not talking about one, but I'm talking about more. So collective coming from the word collect, it will be a name that represents a particular group. And then a common noun now. These are everyday things that we talk about, such as a house, a pencil, a door, a chair. Those one we refer to them as what? As common nouns. And then abstract nouns, these are things that we cannot see, tangible, non-tangible things that we cannot see or touch, but can only feel. For example, emotive words such as love, kindness, hate, whatsoever, we can call them what? Abstract nouns. So these are the types of nouns that we would have. So when you study a sentence and you know that, or you can see that the word that is being used in that particular sentence is actually a naming word, you need to be in a position to thoroughly, if not explicitly explain or identify what kind of a naming word is that. Is it naming a person? Is it naming a place? Then it will be a proper noun. Is it used in the place of a proper noun? Then you know that it's a pronoun. Is it used to represent a group? Then you know that it's a collective. Is it naming of everyday daily things that we may talk about, like fence, a house, a desk, a pen? Those are common nouns. Is it naming things that are not tangible, something that you cannot see or touch but can feel, which mostly are emotive words? Then you would know that these are what? Abstract nouns. So actually nouns actually refers to what? To names. Now still unpacking pronouns, as we have already identified that actually pronoun is used in a place of a proper noun. So remember that pronoun also can become subjects. When you are referring to a pronoun in the form of a subject, that is where now you are going to have a pronoun such as he or she. And then again, a pronoun can come in a form of objects. Remember, these are names that we use in a place of a proper noun. So if you are referring to a pronoun as an object, then we can talk about what? Him or her. Again, a pronoun can come in a form of possessive. When it is now a possessive, that is where now we can have a pronoun such as his or hers. Another way we can have what also in a form of indefinite. Indefinite, remember these are naming words, and then in an indefinite now, because we are not sure, we can have nobody. We can also have, for example, if you say all of you, so then all then becomes what? Your indefinite pronoun. And then also we can also have what you call demonstratives, nouns in a form of a demonstrative. Pronouns, I'm sorry, not nouns, pronouns in a form of a demonstrative. That's where now we can have such as these or those. Now what is important when you have to substitute a proper noun with a pronoun, it is that it is always important to be sure that the pronoun has a clear referent. For example, you cannot use a he if you are referencing to a female. You cannot use a she if you are actually the referent is a male. So you need to understand in what position or in what form is a proper noun, so that you can have a clear referent and be in a position to use the correct pronoun, because pronouns are used in a place of what, or to substitute what? A proper noun. And as we continue, Another part of speech, remember we are learning the definition so that we can be able to identify functions of words. As I've already alluded in the beginning, that parts of speech are important because we now learn and understand the dynamics of languages in as far as sentences, how sentences are constructed with key reference to the function of various words in a sentence. We have been dealing with nouns, which are naming words, the types of nouns, and the last segment there, just the previous segment rather, was based on the pronouns in such a way that you must be in a position to ensure that the referent for a pronoun is actually accurate before you can substitute a proper noun with a pronoun. And also learned the types of nouns, that which include collective, abstract, and common noun. Now we are going to learn about a verb. In essence, the definition: a word that tells what someone, remember, it can be a noun. Remember, a noun to be a name of a person. So if we are talking about a someone here, definitely it will be a noun. So it means that a verb, it will be an action that is being demonstrated or being executed by a noun in a verb. The definition says a word that tells what someone or something does. So remember, an action cannot always be performed by a human being. An action can also be performed by non-living things. Hence, we have the word something here. So if you see any word that demonstrates or that is action orientated in a sentence, you know that the part of speech there is what is a verb. To sit, to talk, to dance, to write, all the action orientated words, we describe them as what? As our verbs, as one of the parts of speech. Correct. Now that we have learned about the verb, which is an action word, now we have to now understand what we mean by an adverb. Let us go to the definition. An adverb can be added to a verb to modify its meaning, can also modify adjectives and other adverbs. So in essence, an adverb is any word in a sentence that tells us more about the action that is being performed. However, an adverb can also not only modify a verb, but it can also further tell us more about an adjective, and then it can also tell us more about another adverb. So an adverb can actually come before the verb or after the verb. What it functions rather is to give us more details as to how the action, or when, or in which manner, or at which place is the action performed. That is why we say that an adverb actually may modify or tell us more about the action, but it can also tell us more about the adjective and another adverb in a sentence. So in essence, an adverb will tell you when, that is to be an adverb of place, an adverb of time, where it's going to be an adverb of place to tell us where action was taking place or is taking place. How it can be an adverb of manner, because it's going to explain or actually identify the manner in which the action transpired. In what manner or to what extent. Now this is going to be an adverb of a degree to show us what extent did the action transpire or was performed. And then in most cases, adverbs will have the suffix ly to the end. Remember, a suffix is words that are added at the end of the word to actually change the word. For an example, here we've got the word cheer, right? Cheer, but if you add the suffix plus fully, it becomes what? Cheerfully. So I can say she cheerfully greeted me. So how did this person greet me? Cheerfully. So cheerfully here becomes what? An adjective. It becomes an adverb because it tells us more about what? About the action. Words such as slowly, coming from the word slow, the root word being slow, adding ly, which is a suffix slowly. She is slowly explaining the concept to me. How is this person explaining the concept to me in a slowly manner? So when you say something is, slowly, the word slowly here becomes what? Your adverb, because it tells us more about the action. Carelessly, I can say that I carelessly spoke, or I carelessly threw out the bin. How did you throw, or he or I threw out the bin in a carelessly manner? So Adverbs in most cases, but not all of them will end with the suffix ly. So remember, an adverb will be a word that comes before the verb or after the verb, but the main purpose is to modify the action or to give us more information pertaining to the action that is being performed in a sentence. And another part of speech that we have to learn is also what you call an adjective. An adjective, a word used to modify or describe a noun. I am happy. I'm explaining or describing my state. I am sad. I'm describing the state that which I am. This boy is very short. The word short becomes an adjective. So adjectives are actually describing words. They can either modify or describe what a noun. So if you see any word in a sentence describing, for example, I can say that I wore, or let us make a practical example. She wore a yellow jersey, right? Now, this person wore, what did she wear? A jersey, right? The question will be, what kind of a jersey? A yellow one. So it means that this now becomes what? Your adjective, because what does it do? What does it do? Rather, it describes what the noun. Remember, a jersey will become a noun because it's the name of a garment that you are wearing. So it means that as it's already stated in the definition, a word used to modify or describe what, it must describe what, a noun. So don't confuse an adjective with an adverb. Remember, we said with an adverb will be linked to a verb mostly, because in most cases adverbs are used to modify or to tell us more about the action that is being performed. Now, an adjective will be a descriptive word. For example, any word that describes particularly a noun. It can be a person, it can be to say a tortoise is slow. How is a tortoise slow? So the word slow may be used to describe a tortoise. The boy is short. The word short may be used to describe what a person, that boy. So in essence, adjective will be descriptive words in a sentence, and particularly they're going to describe a noun, whereas an adverb will mostly, if not in most cases, modify or tell us more about the verb that is being the action that is being performed. So you should be in a position not to actually confuse an adjective with an adverb. And another one that we have to learn about is a preposition. I normally say if you cancel the prefix pre, you remain with what? With position. Now let us look at the definition. A word placed before a noun or a pronoun to show its location or direction. May also show a noun or pronoun's relationship to some other words in a sentence. And normally these are small words. I normally say small words that may indicate a position of an object or something, or may also link a noun or a pronoun and relate it to other words in a sentence. Words such as under, over, the mouse is inside. So the word in will indicate what? The location or direction. So in essence, if you want to quickly remember the definition, I will say small words in a sentence. Small words, however, not only small words, what do they do? Mostly they indicate location or direction, or in some instances, they may show a noun or a pronoun's relationship to some other words in a sentence. Such as my book is on the table. So where is my book? It's on the table. The word on gives me rather the location of a book. And remember that a book is a noun. That is why we say that in a definition, it highlights that it is placed before a noun or a pronoun to show its location or direction. So at times you'll be given a sentence, like I've said, whereby they underlined such words that indicate location or direction. Automatically you know that we call them what? Preposition. And then another part of speech that we need to also learn and understand is the conjunction. The definition: a word used to connect other words, phrases, and clauses. Conjunctions are very much important because we rely on them to actually link ideas together, to formulate or to change sentences from simple to compound, from compound to complex. And then at times, conjunctions are not only limited to joining of sentences, but also conjunctions can be used to join words. For example, if I say, Karabo and Tabo. I've joined two names using a conjunction. And then, for example, also you can also use a conjunction to actually connect the phrases. And then also, most importantly, when you write, particularly even in your essays, you are going to rely on conjunction to actually link together your clauses, which means your sentences. An example can be the word and, can be the word but, can be the word or. These are not only the three conjunctions that we have. We have quite a list of them in English. But I will also encourage you that we do not get into the habit of starting a sentence with a conjunction, because the purpose of a conjunction is to link words, not for it to become a subject to start a sentence with. For example, you can't start a sentence writing a sentence in English and you say and as your subject. The word and is the conjunction. I'm expecting something to come before and another sentence or word to come after and, in such a way that you indicate that they are actually joining words. So to repeat that, conjunctions are actually words that are used to connect words, phrases, and clauses. If you don't want to say clauses, you can say sentences. And then with the reference to connection of clauses, remember I said conjunction can also be used to actually I establish as to whether this is a simple sentence or a compound. A compound is when you use one conjunction to join two sentences. For example, Tabo went to school, but he was sick. Then I've joined two sentences. It becomes a compound. Now, if now that sentence becomes what you call a complex sentence, it means I have used more than one conjunction to join more than 1, 2, 3 sentences. If I say Tabo is sick, but he went to school. It's a simple sentence. It's a simple sentence joined together by this conjunction. It's no longer a simple sentence. We are going to call it what? A compound sentence, because I have joined two independent clauses using a conjunction. However, if I want to continue to say, however, I'm adding now what? Another conjunction, then another idea to sustain or to expatiate this sentence. The sentence now is no longer a compound. It changes now to become what you call a complex sentence. Complex sentence because I've used more than two conjunctions. All right. So I'm just making an example to show you that how conjunction actually affect the nature of the sentence. And we also have what you call interjections. Let us go to the definition. A word that expresses strong or sudden what? Emotions. And then how you see that this is actually an interjection, used as in what? An exclamation mark must accompany the word in such a way that you know that now this is an interjection. Used as an exclamation by itself or with a comma following it if used at the beginning of a sentence. Capable of standing by itself. For example, you can say, oh dear, with an exclamation mark, so you know that it's an interjection because remember it expresses what? Strong emotions. Okay, or for example, even to show that you are surprised, to say, wow, with an exclamation mark, then you know that it's an interjection. And then now that we have established the definitions, let me show you. This is how examiners would ask you to identify the parts of speech. They will give you sentences. However, in question 5, those sentences will have at least 2 words that are underlined, and then you will be asked to identify the parts of speech of the underlined words. Now, remember we said that in the beginning that these are the building blocks because they give us a clear indication with key reference to the function of words in a sentence. The little dog ran. We've got the word little, we've got dog, we've got ran, right? So a dog names what is being discussed or stated in a sentence, or what we are talking about in the sentence is a dog. So a dog becomes what? A name. So therefore this becomes what? Your noun. And then what did it do? This dog, it ran. Remember action, it becomes what? Your verb. But then there's also something interesting. Not only is the dog running here, but we've got the word little. You look at how the word is placed in a sentence in such a way that you will be in a position to actually identify its function. The little dog ran. What kind of a dog is this one? It's a little one. And remember, we said that any word that is descriptive, especially those that describe a noun, we call them what? Adjective. So adjective describes the kind of dog that is running. Not only is it a dog, but it is a little one. So the part of speech will be little, adjective, dog is a noun, and then ran is a verb. Oh, you scared me. Remember, these are what? Interjections, because we've got what? An expression of emotion, and then also coupled with an exclamation mark. Then we know that the part of speech here is an interjection. Right. The snow fell softly. What are we talking about here? We are talking about a snow. So snow automatically becomes what? Your noun. And then it fell. To fell now, it's an action that is performed by the snow, which is a verb. Now, something interesting here. Not only did the snow fall, but it fell how? Softly. So softly now tells us more about the action, how the action was performed by the snow, or how the snow fell. It fell softly. So remember, anything that tells us more about the action that is being performed, we call it what? The adverb. An adverb. Right. So this is an adjective because it was a descriptive word describing a dog. But here now it's an adverb because it modifies the action that is being performed by the snow, that not only did it fall, but it fell softly. And in most cases, but not all the adverbs, but most cases, adverbs will have the suffix ly. The house was red and small. What you are talking about here, we are talking about the house, and then the house become what? Your noun. And was takes a position of a verb here. What kind of a house are we talking about? This house is red. This house is also house small. So the color red and small, both of them are descriptive. They are describing the kind of house that you are talking about. And remember, I said that anything that is any word that is descriptive, we call them what? Adjectives. So these are adjectives, and then we've got a joining word that joins the descriptive words here. It's red and small, and then ultimately that becomes what? That becomes your conjunction. Yeah. And then Pat and Joe quickly raked the leaves. We've got Pat and Joe written in capital letters, and then ultimately these are our proper noun. Proper nouns. Quickly raked the leaves. Leaf is a noun. Raked is the action that is being performed. Now, how did they perform this action? Quickly. So quickly, what does it do? It tells us more about the action that is being performed. So therefore, it becomes what? Your adverb, because it modifies the verb by giving us more details as to how the action was performed. So in essence, you need to first understand the definitions, the nouns, naming words, adverb, modifies the verb, action word, adjective, descriptive word, preposition indicates the position or the direction of the noun, as well as interjection that which expresses strong emotions. So coupled with an exclamation mark. So I said that you first need to read the sentence and check the purpose or the function of the word in such a way that you'll be in a position to identify the parts of speech. It's very, very important that you understand the parts of speech, because I call them the building blocks of language, because they give you a clear and a deeper understanding of how the sentence is constructed and how meaning is constructed in a sentence by understanding the function of each and every word in the sentence. Thank you.